Hello friends, it's Sarah from Sweet Scents from the Dollhouse. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, thanks for hanging out and welcome back. I apologize if you were on my channel yesterday and realized that I missed Wax Wars. It is the first Wednesday since I started that little mini series that I haven't done an installment. The reason being, the Dollhouse was hit pretty hard with the stomach virus about 48 hours before Christmas. My apologies. My 20-month-old came down with it. Then it went to my 13-year-old. Christmas morning, it was perfect. The girls both seemed okay. I was feeling the best that I had felt in weeks. I was up and out of bed. Like, we had it all figured out, worked out, that the stockings would hang in my room. The kids were going to bring in all the Santa gifts and open them in bed with me if need be, but didn't have to because I was feeling amazing. The kids' tummy virus seemed to have settled and calmed, so we had a beautiful Christmas. We were joined by my parents and my grandmother. So for about 14 hours, things were perfect. That evening, you know how babies are when they're ill. They seem okay during the day. Started all over again at night with Ella. My parents left about 4:30, 5 o'clock because we were getting hit by a storm and I wanted them to be able to return safely to the city. So we had an early dinner, and by the time they got home, my dad came down with the stomach virus, which would then pass to my gran as well as my mom. And at the same time, Tatum had gone to her dad's, and Boxing Day morning, she called me. They were supposed to have a big Boxing Day party. Grace is going to go there on Boxing Day, but they called me and said the party was canceled because Tatum and their dad had now had the stomach flu. So I feel terrible that it started with us and we passed it to not just our household, but 2 more households. It was awful, but that being said, we did have a beautiful Christmas. I was spoiled rotten. Some of my favorite gifts included the necklace I'm wearing. I know my camera is crappy and you won't be able to see it very well, but Tatum bought me this beautiful Heart of Winter necklace from Pandora. I was just like so shocked. It just too much money. She spent way too much money. She works at KFC at the on route on the highway near us. Hi, babe. And she has to work really hard and a lot of hours to be able to spoil me like that. So I was so blessed. Grace also bought me this beautiful bracelet. It's actually made in South America, and all these aren't beads. They're all nuts. So you can't tell by looking at it from far away, but they're not. They're all different sizes and shapes because they're actually painted nuts and seeds. How cool is that? I wish I had kept the little tag because I wanted to check out and see if maybe they had a website or where I could purchase more of these. It's very cool that it's all natural. So those were 2 of my favorite gifts from the girls. My parents also bought me one of those steam mops that I wanted for like ever. One of those Bissell hardwood floor steam mops. I need to get some distilled water because I guess you can't put regular tap water in it. You also don't use cleaner, so I don't know. I'm super pumped to use it, see how it works, because I've never had one before. But anyways, with that being said, it was just too crazy around here to do Wax Wars, and I had started it, but the whole point of those little episodes are me observing the performance of different brands, and I was so busy with either sick family members or cleaning up Christmas chaos that I wasn't being very observant. So I'm not about doing things half-assed, so I thought I would just sit this week out. So again, I apologize if you came looking for it. However, I'm going to do this little let's chat about about Wax Wars. So essentially, the whole reason I got into vendor wax to begin with was because I was doing Wax Wars. As a Scentsy consultant, I approach different people all the time and ask them about using Scentsy, and they'll say, yes, I love it, or some of them say it's too expensive. I just buy wax tarts from Walmart, which, come on, we all know that Sensationals doesn't even remotely stand up to Scentsy. Quiet, please. But I have hauled from Walmart because, I started doing wax wars and I wanted to showcase the differences between Scentsy and some mainstream things on the market. Um, and then the more I got into looking at different companies about who makes these wax tarts, I found so many people who were once upon a time die-hard Scentsy customers or even consultants who've made the switch over to something called vendor wax. And I'm like, what is this all about? I need to know more. So I've started to order vendor wax from a variety of different companies. The more I read, the more videos I watch. I follow several YouTubers, vloggers, just like myself, who were once upon a time Scentsy diehards. One of them is Kim Hart's Organizing. She has an awesome channel where she reviews tons of different home fragrances. She started with Scentsy, and now she strictly does vendor wax. I've read different blogs on D-Stash pages or threads, so on and so forth, where people said, I was on the fence for a while and I was warming both Scentsy, and then I was getting more into vendor wax. And then in September, when Scentsy did the price increase, that was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back, and I haven't ordered Scentsy since. So a lot of people say it's because of the price. Vendor wax is crazy affordable. Other people say because of the variety, the performance. Like, everyone has their own reasoning. So I was like, I need to figure this out. I want to have some vendor wax. I want to see what all the buzz is about, right? So the more I try a vendor wax, I love it. I get it. I see the reason why a lot of people have embraced vendor wax and love it. I am still, to be honest, so on the fence. I love vendor wax. I see the appeal, but I'm a Scentsy consultant and I love Scentsy, and I see the appeal there too. And they're kind of in a class of their own, in my opinion. So the pros for vendor wax, it's incredibly affordable. There are a million different companies to choose from. So say, for instance, you want Serendipity. You order it from one company and you didn't like it. You can order from 20 more companies that will have a variation of Serendipity. So there's an array. It's always changing. The scents are very complex, or you can get, crazy complex scents, or you can also just get 1 or 2 note scents and mix and blend your own. The performance on it is outstanding. Not all are created equally. So, for instance, super tarts, and I'm not saying that I'm a super tart specialist by any means. I've only placed 3 or 4 orders so far. So I'm rather new to super tarts, but I have yet to find a super tart scent that is a light to medium scent. They are all top note, super strong, high intensity performers, which is great for me because I love my home fragrance strong, like knock you on your ass strong. But that's not always a pro for everyone. Some people can't stand really, really loud, intense scents, so maybe that wouldn't be the company for them. They could then choose from 50 other different independent indie vendors, right? So I definitely see the pros to vendor wax, but I'm also on the fence because with Scentsy, safety is a huge reason that I got into doing this to begin with. I don't use candles in my home. I have a video in my Let's Chat playlist that talks about why I stopped using candles. So Scentsy is definitely my go-to for safety. I know that if I leave the house, and I'm like a fruit fly on acid, I'm like the most forgetful person on the planet. If I leave a Scentsy warmer on, no big deal. I carry on because it's equivalent of leaving a lamp on. I'm not going to turn around to go home and turn it off because it's not a big deal. I know it's not going to burn my house down. I know if the cat knocks it over in my absence, it's not going to hurt him or the house. Whereas I've purchased, I think, 4, maybe 5 different warmers now for the purpose of melting vendor wax. And I wouldn't leave any of those on when I'm not home, never mind unattended, for 20 seconds because I have a 20-month-old. I have Scentsy warmers in every corner of my house, including down low, like plugged into the outlets. They're Scentsy mini plug-in warmers. And if you're a parent, you know that you literally cannot watch your child 24 hours a day. I need to cook dinner. I need to take garbage out. I need to, I'm always, watching her technically, but there's times where she does go out of my sight. And if she splashes in my Scentsy warmer, I know I'm going to have one hell of a mess to clean up, but she's not going to get burnt. So to me, I think they're each kind of still in a league of their own because for me, safety is really important. So definite pro to warming Scentsy for me is the safety. For the warmers as well as the wax, safety, safety, safety to me always comes first. Second of all, the pro to Scentsy would be availability. I know that if I fall in love with this scent, in September of this year, for instance, glacial ice, I have fallen in love. I never want to be without that fragrance ever. I know that from September 1st until the end of the catalog in March, like 6 months, I can order glacial ice by the truckload if I want for 6 months. I don't have to worry about it not being available. Whereas with vendor wax, I'm not going to order 5 or 6 of something if I don't know whether or not I like it. I can't order 5 or 6 of something not knowing whether or not it's going to perform well in my house. So I order 1 of 2 of everything. And then when I get it, and I'm Canadian, so I usually get it like 8 weeks later, if I love that scent, odds of me going back to the website and it still being available, slim to none. As well as the restocks and the scent lists and options are changing all the time. There are some ready-to-ship companies like Wilma's. The stuff is the same, available all the time. Super Tarts is ready to ship, and most of the scents are available all the time. But companies like Sassy Girl Aroma, she does her restocks every month, and people request, but you can ask for her to make something. Doesn't mean that she's going to make it. Julie probably has some sort of record keeping. If you request Ghosts and Goblins and the last time she restocked it, it didn't sell very well and she got stuck with 20 bags of it, odds of her remaking that scent is probably slim to none. I don't know how she does it, but I'm just saying if I was in her shoes, I wouldn't keep making something that didn't sell. And I'm not going to keep making something for the sake of one person who requests it, right? So I understand why they don't restock the same stuff. They have to make what they know is going to sell. But everyone's tastes are different. So with vendor wax, it's really hit or miss. You might fall in love with something, but there's no guarantee that you'll be able to get it again. Or you might have to wait, 6, 12 months to get it again. Whereas with Scentsy, I have that 6-month window where I can order literally truckloads of something if I love it that much, and then never have to be without it. So I know that there's definitely pros and cons to both. If you have tried both Scentsy and vendor wax, please comment down below. Tell me what your pros and cons are. Tell me if you have given up on Scentsy and have made the switch entirely to vendor wax. What do you do about the warmers? Do you feel safe? Which warmers are you using that you can leave unattended or around your pets and your kids? I personally would love to know because I haven't found a warmer yet. Literally my candle warmers, from candlewarmer.com, the hot plate one, steams. You can watch steam come off of it. It's that hot. So With those ones, I can't leave Ella unattended for zero point 0.1 second near those bad boys. Even my Glade 13 watt warmers are hot as hell. So, I'm definitely on the fence, and I am a Scentsy consultant. I do love the product. So I guess I'm not even trying to be biased here because I see the draw to vendor wax. I see that it is crazy affordable. Also, I'm going to do a little video about measuring too, because with Scentsy, most of my bars, I only use 1, maybe 2 cubes. And with a lot of the vendor wax, I need to use a whole ounce per melt. So I'm going to do a more in-depth video about price per ounce and see if vendor wax is really as affordable as a lot of people think if you have to use a whole ounce every time you melt. Because I don't think definitely not 1 cube. I don't even know that 2 cubes is a full ounce, but I do have a digital scale. So stay tuned for that video. We'll do a more in-depth, like cost per ounce per melt kind of video to see if it is as affordable as people say. But yeah, please comment down below. Let me know. What are your draws towards vendor wax or Scentsy? What's important to you? Another thing that I've been looking into more frequently, because I want to do away with a lot of the wax that I'm not warming. So in 2018, I'm going to do a no buy. I'm not buying warmers that I don't need. I have a whole room full of warmers. I went nutty this year buying every single Scentsy warmer that came out. I know what works well in my house, which is primarily element warmers with Scentsy. So I am going to start destashing a lot of the stuff that either doesn't work in my home or that I just don't need. Like, I don't need 42 Scentsy warmers. I just don't. And if they're not working in my home, perhaps they'll work in somebody else's. And this year you'll find in a lot of my hauls, I'm not just going to buy warmers for the sake of having them because they're new. I'm probably just going to haul warmers that I need and that I know will work well in my home. Those kids are going crazy out there. So yeah, as well as wax. I have a boatload of vendor wax now. And it's not that it doesn't work in my home. It's just I keep going over it. I keep skipping it. I'm not warming it. With a lot of vendor wax, if there's a soy or even a parasoy blend, it will eventually go bad or not throw very well. So if I'm not warming it, I need to sell it to somebody or pass it on in a random act of kindness or something. Give it to someone who will warm it. So I am getting rid of a whole bunch of stuff that either don't need or doesn't work in my house. But another thing that I've been looking into this year, I know I did a video, it's in my playlist of why I don't burn candles in my home anymore. But I have recently been trying to find research papers or studies that talk about the effects of warming petrol in your home. So paraffin is a derivative of gasoline, petroleum. It is what it is. There's no nice way of saying it. It's gas. You'll see a lot of memes, whatever. I don't even know how to say that word. I've even had people post it on my business page, which ticks me off to no end. They'll put this great big ugly sticker that says Scentsy causes cancer. Like, you're an asshole. And please and thank you, show me the research that backs that up. I found studies, clinical studies from universities that talk about the effects of burning paraffin in your home. But Scentsy isn't burning, we're warming. And I'm very much looking for anything, any scientific findings that back up whether or not warming it is a danger to your health or your home, your environment. I have yet to find any, and I've been deep creeping looking for this. So if you know of any studies that have explored the differences between burning and warming, because I think, and by no means am I a doctor or a scientist, but I think that there should be a huge difference. I think it's by far safer alternative, but I can't say for sure because, again, I'm not a doctor or a scientist, and I would be very, very interested to read if anyone has done a study on the effects of warming paraffin. But what has also been in the back of my mind lately is that paraffin or petroleum is a non-renewable resource. So we're basically pissing away something that we have very limited quantities of. Um, you warm the wax, or if you're still into candles, you're burning the wax, and when you're done with it, you're done with it. With wax tarts, we dump the wax or we let it harden in and we throw it out. Petroleum is also not biodegradable, so it is literally going to be in our landfills forever. And last but most importantly, I'd say, is that oil mining is horrible. And I mean horrible for our environment. So these are things that have been on my mind quite frequently lately, is that paraffin, whether it's in Scentsy or it is in any other vendor wax product, any type of candle, wax tart, wax melt, whatever, it's horrible for our environment, like absolutely horrible. And I'm thinking, this is a non-renewable resource. So in 75 years from now, if we have mined all of the oil, are people going to be sitting there going, I really wish our ancestors hadn't wasted so much crap on home fragrance because we needed that for, real life necessities. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, those things have been greatly weighing on my mind recently. And I know that there's different alternatives. There's soy, which is really hard to find a wax melt, an affordable wax melt that is GMO free, which, again, if you're into or you read a lot about the effects of GMOs on our health and our environment, I know you're not eating it, but don't be silly. GMOs have various effects on our general well-being, whether we're ingesting it or not. There's palm oils, which seemed like they were going to be the holy grail of candles, when people had switched and started to make candles and wax tarts out of palm oil. This is going to be the answer and the solution to, it's a renewable source, blah, 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 blah. It's better for our environment. Well, with a bit of research, they found that palm oil is actually leading to the deforestation of, killing our environment horribly. Like, I mean, horribly. So, really, it seems like you can't win if you tried. I don't know. Maybe that's not important to a lot of people. Maybe people just like home fragrance and they're not thinking long term. Comment down below. What do you look for? If you've made the switch to vendor wax and you're not using Scentsy anymore, let me know why, or what's important to you when you purchase home fragrance. Let's chat. Comment down below. I would love to hear your opinions and see what matters most to you. Once again, thanks for watching. Bye for now.